I had my mic on mute. How is everyone? And welcome to your Powerhouse Maverick training that we have every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time as a benefit to the Powerhouse Mavericks members within our group. We bring it here initially live each Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then I will share it to other groups and whatnot following today's broadcast. So, if you are watching this and you aren't a Powerhouse Maverick on our Facebook group page, then go over to Facebook and request to join the group, and you get so many benefits as a result of being part of the group. Each day we have some way to engage, some way for you to share what it is that you're doing, who you are, what your business is, who you serve, what problems you solve, the impact and the benefits that you give your customers, and then share your business links, your LinkedIn links, your Instagram or Facebook group links. A number of ways for you to be engaging, along with our Motivational Mondays, our Rich Conversation Tuesdays, our Snap Wednesdays, and the list goes on and on. But come over to Facebook, join our Powerhouse Mavericks group. I'm Bernadette Bose of Ball of Fire Coaching. I'm a business success and transformation coach, and I'm the leader of the Powerhouse Mavericks. And I am always looking for ways to give you the tips, tools, strategies, and mindset for you to create all the riches you want in both your work and life. All right. So I'm glad you're with us. And we are going to be talking about vampire energy. Has anyone heard of what vampire energy is? Because I'll be honest with you, I know the concept, and I certainly, which we'll get into, I certainly understand the whole dynamic of it. But I never really attached this term to it until just a few days ago. And I was listening to Michael Bernard Beckwith. If you're familiar with him, I quoted him, I believe, in last Thursday's training. And all of a sudden I heard him use this term, and I thought it was just so dead on and perfect, because I don't know about you, I am a very visual person. And so you give me an idea or a concept or a question, and I'm going to throw it into some sort of cyclone of images so I can actually visualize it. And when I heard this term, vampire energy, it immediately hit on exactly what it's all about. So what do you think it's about? What do you think it's about before we get into it? Let me know in your comment section. And of course, we are streaming through StreamYard. So if you haven't connected in with us through StreamYard, then you'll need to give them permission so I can see your name and comments. But you should already be okay had you already participated in any of our numerous programs and have given them permission to share your name and your profile picture. But let me know. And then if you have any questions or comments as we go through this conversation, also make sure that you put those in your comments as well. So let me take a look. Hi, Kate. How are you? Energy drain. It is. But think vampire, and what is a great term that illustrates that, energy drain. And we'll also talk about more about what it is and what it isn't as well. But is there any other type of visual? Now, I know Kate, and I was going to be segueing into this right now. We are going to be having a laser coaching session as part of today's training. Basically because I am often asked kind of how is it that I go about my coaching? What is coaching all about? What is the process of coaching? And therefore, even though I offer spot coaching sessions where it's kind of a one-off, where you can kind of hire me for one session to really work through what it is that you're dealing with. Maybe you're working on something that you just need some ideas or strategies, or maybe it is that you're having a struggle and a challenge and you just need some uplifting and some guidance and some support. So here today, what we're going to do is we're going to have one of those laser coaching sessions. So it'll give you an idea of what it's about on a real situation and challenge that one of our members has. So stay tuned for that. We'll be getting into that roughly around 30 after the hour. And Kate, I know if you should have the link to get into StreamYard in your Facebook Messenger. And if you don't, then leave me a comment and I'll make sure that you get the link so you can be joining me on camera live so we can have that session. You're in. You are? Because I don't see you on camera at all. I don't see you in. I see you on Facebook. I don't see you in StreamYard. Isn't that interesting? Because normally you would pop up as being in the session. So let me just, if I could, let me share this for. Oh, there you are. Okay. Let me. Everybody say hello to Kate. Share this. Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. So we're going to be doing that a little bit later. But let me go over what it is that we're going to discuss today. So, of course, around vampire energy and the fact that it is sucking. That was the term I was looking for earlier. Isn't that a visual when it comes to a vampire? That is sucking your success. And so we're going to talk about what or who it is. What do they look like? So what does this type of person look like? Why do they do what they do? And what are their motivations around it? And then we're going to get into what you could do about it. Because I would say, prior to 2008, prior to my shedding process that I'm known for, shedding the bitch, as I'm known for, I certainly was one of these vampires. But more so, not to the degree of several vampires I have had in my life. And you might be able to relate to that yourself. And if you do, I would love for you to kind of show, raise a hand in the comment section that you too have had a vampire or two in your life. But maybe you don't quite understand who they are. So we'll get into all of that. All right. And then, like I said, any questions you'll have, we'll get those addressed. And then we will get into the laser coaching session. All right. Kate says vampires. Oh, yes. 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 Yes, 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 and yes. All right. So who are, these vampires that are draining or sucking your energy? And they are people that you know, people that you love, people that are very close to you, people that are kind of a distance, hand distance away, but yet you engage with them. They could be at work. They could be in your community. They could be in a sport or a hobby that you have. They could be in your house. And they are individuals who intentionally or unintentionally are kind of, I will call it, using you to feed themselves, using you to make themselves feel better, using you to really get what it is that they want and need. And they do, as I mentioned, they do it both unintentionally and intentionally. So as we're talking about this, I really want you to be considering who in your life might have some of these characteristics and might be actually more concerned about that they are sucking or draining, as Kate said, not only the energy, because that's that's not the easy part, but that's the surface part. But they're draining your self-love, your self-care, your self-worth. They're draining your self-confidence. They're draining so much out of you that you absolutely feel exhausted, overwhelmed. You feel like crap, quite honestly. And yet you may not be conscious. Ooh, I'm going to come to that, Kate, because that's awesome. That you may not be conscious of the fact that that's what they're doing to you. Kate mentions, and I love this, so I'm going to put it up. Kate mentions that they're dream stealers. I love that. I absolutely love that because they are. And we're going to actually get to that in a minute when we talk about what are their motivations. And you may or may not be surprised by it. And yet I want you to be fully aware of it because it could be what's sabotaging your success. All right. Now, vampires are often very good and very savvy about being able to identify the perfect target, the perfect blood that will feed them and that would be willing to kind of sacrifice themselves to listen, to care for, to sacrifice themselves for in order to make that other person feel better about themselves or to get what it is that they want or that they need. So they're very good at kind of identifying the underdog, identifying the vulnerable, identifying the insecure, identifying the person who also is in need or is in want, and yet they don't know how to go about doing it at all. And therefore, they're almost like they put a target on their back. Think bullies. Okay. And yet vampires are different, but think bullies in that bullies really are good at identifying the target they're going to go after that they know that they can bully. So kind of create that visual, if you would, because that'll help you possibly identify ones that may be already existing in your life and having an impact on your universe. All right. So I will share something briefly in regards to my own story, and I'm going to kind of it'll be in pieces along the way. But I would say this kind of was me in my early to late 20s, where I definitely had some big goals, some big dreams, some big ambitions, big aggression, big, just motivations. And so I went after anybody and everybody that could help me. Now, there's a strategic way around that, which we won't get into right now. There's a strategic way about, how do you engage certain people, mentors, coaches, advocates, in order to help you along your path, whether it be career or life. But then there's more manipulative ways. There's more intentional ways. There's more very selfish ways that you kind of go after people to help you along. So very briefly, I actually recognized this in myself, but years later, when I was going through my shedding process, that even when I was in college, I was living in the dorms, and I had a roommate who was absolutely fabulous. And when I kind of lost my job, for a story is for another day, but it has to do with some garments I was missing that I wasn't wearing when I showed up at work, but that's for another day. I kind of took advantage of, let's call her Joanne. I took advantage of Joanne. And I knew that she really wanted friends. She really wanted someone to take care of. She really wanted someone that, that would make her feel important and included and involved, because she was a very shy, insecure. See the patterns here? And so the next thing you know, it's like 5, 6, 7 months later after losing my job. And I'm in my dorm room, like manicuring my nails every day for them to grow. I'll just never forget this, this situation. And, that's what I was doing and spending my time on outside of classes. And yet I've always worked since I was like 12. But here I found this opportunity to take advantage of someone and to suck everything out of them in order for me to not really necessarily have to work. And I could just sit here and manicure my nails. All right. Doesn't seem like a big thing, but trust me when I say it ruined our relationship. A beautiful relationship at the beginning, and then I ruined it by my vampire behavior. Fortunately, decades later, we've been able to confront that, apologize for that, and move on from that. However, the impact can be severe. All right. So let me, even through my own experience, share with you what these individuals look like. because they're going to come off as very personal, as very charismatic. They're going to come off as very interested in you. All right. They're going to come off as if they're going to open their world to you and give you anything that you need or want. They are, but at the same time, they're going to be very kind of slick, and not slick in like the sleazy Wall Street way. That's the only thing that came to my head. But they're just going to be very savvy in how they're going to be able to demonstrate all of this to you, while at the same time sucking all of your energy and everything out of you in order for them to get what it is that they want. And they're absolutely blameless and blameful. So blameless, you get, right? They're, if anything comes up, if all of a sudden they're confronted or something goes wrong, or all of a sudden they need you for something because they screwed up, it's not their fault, it's somebody else's fault. And that's where the blameful comes in. Okay. So they're blameless and they're blameful by placing a lot of blame on everybody else but themselves. And so they come to you in their victimhood, and that's, and kind of suck from you what it is that they need. They love drama. When it's calm, cool, and collected, they are always looking for something so they can kind of just create the chaos, create the swell of negativity. It could be of insecurity. It could be, creating the drama of making you feel less than you are. It could be create just drama, whether it's with people that they know, people that they love, or complete strangers. But they always love to just keep things, just banging at each other. All right. Do you know anyone so far? Have you thought of anybody so far that might fall into the vampire? And of course, as I mentioned, they really diminish who you are. They even diminish the problems that you're having. You may go to them. They've shown all this interest. They've shown all this, this want to help you. But when you do, and you go to them for help, they diminish your problems and they turn it onto them. And the next thing you know, you're putting aside your problems because you're not at that state of being able to stand up to them. So you're diminishing your own problems and allowing them to now take your power, as many people will say, and kind of turning the attention onto them and helping them with whatever it is that they're dealing with. All right. At the same time, they could be very much like, another example I want to give you. They could be very much like someone that I'm sorry, I'm looking at a chat. They also could be the type that are the negative Nellies, negative Nancy's, whatever you might call them. You say it's blue, they say it's black. You say it's beautiful out, they say it's like, really stormy and rainy and cloudy and ugly. And they do it in such a way that, one, they really aren't even conscious of them doing that. But at the same time, they're trying to influence you into their negative, insecure, dark world, because they're unhappy. They're, even miserable. And yet you may not be either one of those things. And therefore they want you to kind of join their pity party, their victimhood, their misery, because that'll then make them feel better. Let alone the fact that they are going to feel important. They're going to feel involved. They're going to feel included. They're going to feel loved, because the fact that they're coming off and appearing as if they're helping you when you're doing all the serving and the helping. But yet they're able to craft it and present it in such a way that they're the good guy and you're just the little guy. Does any of this relate? The reason why I wanted to have this discussion is because many of us, including myself as both the vampire and a victim of it, and I actually don't like that word, but I just lost the train of thought. So, I'm bringing it up because whether that we're the vampire or the victim, it is absolutely sabotaging your ability to have the confidence, the clarity, the focus, the energy, the determination, the persistence, all the things that you need in order to achieve your goals. And that is their intention. Okay? That is their intention. So I thought it was really important because I have actually, I would say over the last 5 or 6 months, have witnessed multiple clients of mine having one of these vampires in their lives. And it's not my job. It's not my job as your coach to kind of point that out. I need to guide you for you to discover that for yourself. Okay. And so I really want to make sure that you really understand what these vampires look like and what their characteristics are and that kind of thing in order for you then to be, and we're going to talk about what you can do about it. But so you can all of a sudden be thinking in your head, like, oh my gosh, this sounds like, Pete, or this sounds like Sally. And yes, I'm now kind of, and it's probably making you very uncomfortable. It might make you a little bit insecure. It might make you retreat. It might start, causing you to kind of get anxious or panic or fearful, because, you're having to acknowledge that, yes, your energy, your confidence, your potential for success is getting sucked away from you. And quite honestly, and this is where my tough love coaching comes in, but quite honestly, it's not their fault. Do they have a role and accountability and responsibility in it? Absolutely. But, you need to be able to identify those things and then put things in place to combat it so it doesn't affect you. So it doesn't sabotage what it is that you're working your little tail off to achieve. Does that make sense? So that's really why I wanted to have this conversation. Kate, you have mentioned, I just want to make sure I understand it in case it's a question. Are you sure about this? And so I just want to, if there's any kind of additional comments around that you want to share, let me know so I can make sure that I, kind of get it across and explain it appropriately. So again, why do they do this? A strategy used by my So Kate has a vampire that basically uses, are you sure about this? Are you sure about this? Yes, they do. Are you sure about this? Making you question yourself. And then, probably sweeping in and then giving you their advice and their ideas and their strategies. So then they, kind of make themselves look as if, they're the smart one. They're the, they're the brilliant one. They're the ones who came up with the great big idea. They're also the type of person who, when you do express that you're having a problem with X, Y, and Z, or that you accomplished X, Y, and Z, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, well, I did that too. And when you actually get to the point where you've accomplished 1, 2, and 3 that I have, then let's talk. Or when you bring up that problem, you state the problem. Oh God, yeah, I have that problem too. And there you go. They're off to the races of sharing their issues and their problems and not necessarily yours. And again, they're doing it so they feel important, so they feel loved, so they feel needed, so they feel smart, so they feel accomplished, so they feel worthy and deserving. And yet they haven't even yet recognized kind of what that behavior is doing to them. So what I really want you to consider, because I certainly had to come face to face with my own vampire, like myself within, as well as the vampires in my life. And one key one of a relationship of 20 plus years. And yet vampires complement vampires. And what I mean by that is Oftentimes you attract, right? We talk about, what you put out in the universe is brought back to you in kind. And therefore, if you're putting out, in this case, me, if I'm putting out any of these vampire, energy vibes, I'm attracting other vampires in my life. And I love this term. I just absolutely love this term because it creates such a visual for me. And it took me a good 10 years into my shedding process to recognize the people in my life, significant ones, that certainly were vampires, but yet I attracted them because I was as well. Sometimes to the degree of those, sometimes not at all. But yet there I was, and I have to admit it because I can't hide from it. It's who I was in the past, not who I am today, by the way. And yet it kind of helps me now to recognize it in other people. So my job with my clients is to guide them, for them to acknowledge it and recognize it, even though I might see it so much sooner in what it is that they share with me, how they share it, what they say, what the impact and the emotional, result is for them, so forth and so on. Now, I want to share some tips on what it is you can do in order to kind of shed, as I call it, shed those vampires out of your life. But first, you do, like I mentioned, you have to acknowledge them, that they exist. And so what I just have my clients do is really become aware of the people in their life. So actually what I'll do is I'll have them sit down and make a list of all the influencers in their life, business or just in their home life or community life. Who are all the people that they spend a great deal of time with, and how do they influence who they are, what they do, what they aren't doing, so forth and so on. And then I kind of drill into it a little bit further with them around, so, what do they bring into your world? What do they bring to you? And yet at the same time, what are they taking away? And that's where all of a sudden people get tripped up going, what do you mean what do they take away? And I'll be like, well, we all have relationships that can absolutely drain us. The relationship I was talking about of 20, 25 years, it absolutely drained every ounce of energy or confidence or positivity, or self-worth that I felt. Now, again, they're not fully to blame. I allowed that to happen. At the same time, when I started my shedding process and started gaining more confidence and more feelings of self-worth and opening myself up to really seeking who I'm truly meant to be, is when all of a sudden this behavior and these characteristics and these actions that these type of individuals were taking, well, they were so penetrating into my soul. They became revolting. And I was just like, whoa, what is that about? Because this is a person I've known for 20, 25 years who I've loved. And yet, all of a sudden, I see them in a very different light. Okay? So it's going to be okay if you're all of a sudden acknowledging and recognizing and becoming aware of the fact that there's people in your lives that might not be serving you well. And that's what we want to get down to, because you want people in your life who enrich you, who build you up, who put you, first, or if not first, equal to, and who want you to succeed and who want you to, obtain all the riches that you deserve in your world. You want people like that in your universe. You don't want those that are selfish and purposely draining you. And why they do that, I might have overlooked that, but why they do that is because, one, they're not happy with themselves, plain and simple. And we won't get a lot into that because I want to focus on you. Plain and simple, they're not happy with themselves. But they also don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to obtain what you want, whether that's a job, a raise, a business, a relationship, a new house, a new career, new, city to live in, because that will take away from them. That might change you to where all of a sudden you're not there to feed them. And so what you need to do is get selfish. and say, wait, I am going to discover it. So that's the first thing I want you to be thinking about. I want you to discover it. I want you to become aware. I want you to kind of look around and pay attention to the people, like I said, taking that inventory of who's in your life, who influences, your everyday, and are they, gaining you, meaning are they helping you gain what you want, or are they draining you? And I want you to say, oh, okay, all right, now I know. And the next thing I want you to do is then confront it. And confronting just simply means, okay, yep, I'm identifying these people that could be vampires in my life. And I need to assess that relationship. I need to look at it in its totality and really make sure I understand the effect and impact it is having on my world. And, make a decision about what you're going to do about it. Okay. Now, some people make the decision, well, they're a family member. I can't, kind of totally, delete them from my world. Well, yeah, you can. But if you can't do that, then a decision that you might be making in the next stage, which is shed, the decision that you might be making is that you're going to set boundaries. You're going to put them in a new box. You're going to paint a new visual or avatar around who they are and who they are to you and what they mean to you and what you will allow them to mean to you. So maybe you've always gone to them for business advice or relationship advice or money advice. And yet you're now acknowledging that they're always working against what it is that you truly want. In their very slick, manipulative way, oh my gosh, they're always kind of trying to keep me away from going after that new job or that new business or that big client or that, new house or that office that I want. That's interesting. I wonder why. Well, we talked about that, right? So now you could say, all right, I'm going to put them in this new box. I'm going to paint this new avatar that these people are no longer my money confidant. They're no longer the person I go to talk about relationships or my business. They're no longer the people I share my goals and dreams with, because they're actually using it against me. And then, as I mentioned, some take drastic, as I did with multiple, take drastic measures as to totally stepping away and eventually totally deleting them from one's life, from my life, from your life. So discover it, confront it, and then make decisions around what you're going to do about it. You're going to either shed it or you're going to find a way to keep them in your life, but yet you have to kind of redefine that. Because once you do that, and I promise you, once you do that, you are going to open up floodgates of new opportunities, new creativity, new self-love and self-appreciation, new abundance, new opportunities. It's going to feel like just a wave of sunshine and glory and joy. I promise you. And it is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience that now you're going to be able to move on and create what it is you now want and accelerate what it is that you have, but yet you want more because you've already, you're now experiencing that. And now you want to accelerate that and turn it into even more. And it's a hard experience. Won't deny that, but it is such a beautiful, I'm going to use Kate's word and I'm going to put it up in a second. It's a beautiful gift to yourself. It's a beautiful, and I love this. Look at this from Kate. This is my gift from getting rid of vampires, floods of new opportunities and possibilities. It is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience. So go back and kind of really consider, okay, what these characteristics of vampires, their motivations, why they do what they do, the impact that it's having on you, the true, get down, get raw, get honest about what impact it's having on you. And then walk through this process of discovering who they are, what they are, what that impact is, confront it and be, kind of just say, all right, good, bad, or ugly. This is the way it is. This is who it is. This is why it is. And then make decisions to either shed them from your life, and that the shedding may be in pieces, parts, like setting new boundaries, creating that new avatar, just redefining your relationship with them, or you're going to just totally shed them from your life. Because once you do, you're going to be able to create and accelerate anything that you want in your life. All right. All right. So if you have any questions, whether you're listening to this live or out on replay, because we are also broadcasting on YouTube live, then just continue to put your comments or your questions in now or later, and I'll be coming back to them when it comes to vampire energy and how it will suck the energy and the life out of you unless you just cut them off at their knees and you decide to create and accelerate what it is that you truly want in your life. Okay. I do want to, because we're going to get into some laser coaching, but I do want to remind you before we do that next week, talking about mindset, because that's what this is, right? It's all about mindset. It's all about your self-love, self-care, self-belief in yourself as to how you handle these people that you might identify in your life as vampires. And next week, we kick off our Goals to Riches 5-day challenge, which is complimentary. And it's right here in the Powerhouse Mavericks group. And if you're not in the Powerhouse Mavericks group, since we're broadcasting elsewhere, then come over to Facebook and ask to join. And it's a free challenge, 5 days, to really look at, what are those traits of highly successful, happy people? What are the visions that I have for myself? What are the goals, specifically SMART goals, that I want to achieve in my life? And if you don't have either one, the vision or the goals, or you never assessed yourself as far as the traits of highly successful and happy people, we're going to do all that hands-on. And then Thursday, we're going to go through productivity hacks to ensure that you're productive, you're focused, you're energized, you're clear about what it is that you're doing, and you're going to get specific tools and hacks to ensure that you're working on the right things at the right time. And then Friday is all mindset, even though all week we touch on mindset. But Friday, we're actually going to really delve into what I just highlighted for you around the Shift to Riches formula, the 5 steps to shift to riches: discover, confront, shed, so you can create and accelerate. So that's all next week. All you need to do is you can go to goalstoriches.com and register to be part of that next week. And if you are a Powerhouse Maverick already, you still want to register, because you're that way you'll still be getting the handouts each day. You'll get updates and reminders. You'll get emails regarding the replays, so forth and so on. So you definitely want to register to ensure I have your email address and even your phone number. If you, like me, like text reminders, and that's all I'm going to use your phone number for, then be sure to do that. Okay. All right. So let's get into some laser coaching, shall we? So let me bring Kate on. How are you, Kate? Let me see. You might be on mute, so let me unmute you. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so excited after the first part, I don't even know what to say.
Oh, good. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've had vampires in your world. Yeah, but I'm not sure there's going to be many people who will say that they have not. Sadly, it's almost like everyone probably has had a bully in their world. And so, I love this analogy of vampire, though. Because it just creates that visual for me, at least. All right. So laser coaching, everybody. Now, again, what this is a brief 10-15 minute coaching on a particular question or challenge that you, or in this case, Kate, might be having in your business. It might even be an opportunity. So it's a question, a challenge, or an opportunity that you're having in your business. And that you just need very focused on that particular one and only particular question, challenge, or opportunity. So you can get some tips, advice, and strategies and keep yourself moving forward. And as I mentioned, I've been asked multiple times from multiple people around kind of how do I coach? What's my process versus others? And, kind of what value would it be to me, even though majority of you in Powerhouse Mavericks, especially, are coaches, consultants, and service providers. However, a lot of you don't have your own coach, right? So, that's where this is a great opportunity for you to get an example here. But then we do offer spot coaching sessions. And spot coaching sessions are more involved, go much deeper than just one question, challenge, or opportunity, and really ensure that you walk away with a plan around that particular issue. And so if you want more information regarding our spot coaching, you can email support@balloffirecoaching.com, and we'll get you that information. But it's a great way, apart from our programs, which we would love you to be part of our Get Clients Jumpstarter program or our Shift to Riches Accelerator program. But if you wanted to kind of find out in one session what how coaching can benefit you and really help you move forward in your business, then definitely check out our spot coaching opportunities and go to or email support@balloffirecoaching.com, and we'll get you that information. Okay. All right. So what's up, Kate? What's happening? Where do you need some ideas or help or strategies?
Honestly, I think I sent you the question on Monday, and I'm not sure how I phrased it, but
Okay. That's okay. Go for it.
um,
You forgot it.
I'm just drawing a blank.
Oh, okay. So it was because actually I don't have the email, although I remember reading it briefly. I just don't like to prep before these questions because I kind of like to do it real time. But it is around when you should hire, when can you know?
Exactly. I got so into the vampire thing. Frankly, I got a little distracted. And really, my question is so much less heavy, deep, and real than vampires. It's about when to hire an assistant, when to
Yeah, but
figure
that
out
is a
when
question
to invest in help,
right. Wait. Say that last part again.
when to invest in help.
And that's not kind of just a simple question, because it's what hangs up a lot of entrepreneurs. I'll call them entrepreneurs, and especially my clients, because a lot of times my clients have been in business 3 years plus. They have revenue coming in the door. They're not like brand new, so the idea of an assistant is just like, what? I don't even know what I'm doing, let alone what an assistant needs to do. So it's a great question, and I appreciate you wanting to bring it up. So now what I would first look at is there are particular signs, I'll call them, of when you should hire an assistant. It could be the fact that you are just so overwhelmed in your work that you can't get done specific tasks or specific workload. There's times where you're not getting any selling and marketing done. So how many of you out there, might be dealing with that? So I would look at, kind of, is this and before I start asking you questions, because I will be asking you questions, if that's okay, to kind of really drill into a little bit more about this. But for everybody, especially Kate. So first look at, okay, am I overwhelmed by just the amount of tasks that I have? Am I not getting the key tasks I need to get done? And that's sales and marketing, because that's what pays the bills. Am I not doing what actually is my core, my core skill, my core value, my core service, in my business? And those signs will kind of start raising their head up to say, well, wait a minute, I need some help here. I'm kind of drowning and I'm not moving forward. And for some people, they're not even drowning. They're just simply kind of starting to, and they're not quite there yet. And another sign I should have mentioned, another sign is that they might realize that, you know what, I do have some monies to invest. And therefore, I want to make that investment. So let me ask you a question. What is um what is creating this question or this thought around whether or not you need an assistant right now?
A couple of things. One of them is that during the pandemic, it felt like my phone line had been cut and it's been restored. Let me tell you, it's just my phone is ringing off the hook. And
Okay.
that's through so many channels that one of the things I'm noticing is I'm not being efficient about what kinds of messages I'm getting at all hours of the day and night from Facebook and Messenger and email and phone and voicemail. So I'm feeling overwhelmed by just the sheer number of contacts.
Right, right,
But the other piece is that a fair number of those contacts have tasks behind them that I'm just frankly uniquely poor at. I can do it,
yep,
but I'm not the best one to do it. And I had help before the pandemic in some of these areas, but I'm very, very reluctant to get back into that hiring cycle if I'm not sure it's the right time.
right. Okay, so I want to hit on two things there. Um, I want to hit on, you don't have to answer it right away. I just need to get it out of my head before I forget. What caused you to let them go before the pandemic? Because I don't want to make any assumptions. And then what is causing you to be apprehensive now around whether it's the right time? So let's go to the beginning.
What a great question. I didn't let anyone go for the pandemic. Each of the people who worked for me was a mom with childcare issues that
Ah,
became what they had to do. So I
mhm,
became convinced I couldn't rehire anyone. And that was true for over a year. And now suddenly I have the opportunity to hire a couple of really good people. And it's kind of scary to think of them having to go back to homeschooling suddenly or to invest in getting them up to speed. And I guess it's just a bit of post-pandemic nerves, really.
right. And so is that the core of why you're apprehensive, is just the fact that you could put some investment into them and then all of a sudden they're gone? Because you can't control the fact that they need to take care of their family?
Certainly that's one of the issues. And then there's just, have I rebuilt things to the critical mass that means it's time?
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so that's getting down to the first one I would understand. The first one I would understand, if you've been not burned, but if you've put all this time and money and effort into, bringing people on to help you, and then all of a sudden they were gone, feeling as if that money went away, all of a sudden went down the drain. Well, then there could be an apprehensive to that, and that would make sense. But at the same time, I love what you brought up about, are you at the point of critical mass to where you should? Okay. Okay. Now, would you say that you have the, ability to invest? You've done it before, right?
Yes.
Kudos to you, because a lot of people have a really hard time kind of pulling that trigger to hire someone. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel regarding your ability to onboard people?
It's my least favorite part. Um, I don't think it's a huge strong suit because everything's in my head, particularly after working by myself for 16 months.
Right,
So it feels
right,
like an enormous task to get
right.
someone up to speed to where they can add value.
Okay. And do you see how, by spending a certain amount of time, and have you thought about how much time could you spend each week onboarding, to where, yes, it will take that time right now, but a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, it's going to just create a swell of new opportunities and value for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good idea, is to just sit down and block out what it's really going to take, because I feel like onboarding could take up all the time I have available if I don't budget it appropriately.
Right. Right. Budget your time appropriately.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So you're comfortable. You're not 100% comfortable with the onboarding process and getting everything out of your head on transfer. At the same time, you're not going to run from it. Is that what I understand?
Well, I should probably mention that I hired the gal since I sent in the questions. So,
Oh, yay. Yay. Okay. Well, that's good. So you pulling the trigger to do it and putting that investment out there is not a concern.
no.
Okay. So then it's a matter of, devoting that time, almost like time blocking that time and doing that, knowing that, a month, 2 months down the road, that'll be behind you. And almost, are you planning to onboard them in such a way that if you hired another person, they could onboard that next person?
What a great idea.
Okay, because you going into your onboarding with this individual with that idea of, okay, well, I want to do it in such a way that will then allow me to bring somebody else on, but this individual is going to onboard them and I won't have to. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I hadn't thought of that at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Okay. All right. That's why I'm here. All right. All right. So let me see. So the challenges, the opportunities, and obviously have you done the math? Have you considered the opportunity this is going to provide you by you having someone there to do certain things so you can be over here doing what's most important?
Yeah, I think so. With this person, it's very clear. The reason the question remains is because I think that this person will have some very technical duties that I know I'm poorly suited to, but I may need some help from someone helping me kind of closer to my mindset work and closer to my projects. And the idea that this first person could help onboard the second person is really exciting.
Okay. So the second person you might hire would be more in your space, not the administrative technical space.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And is it fair to say that technical space includes administrative work? Or is it purely technical work?
It's mostly technical.
Okay. Who's handling your administrative work? Okay. All right. Okay. And have you looked at the percentage of how did you go about, let me ask it this way. How did you go about identifying that the technical person was more of a priority than any other role to hire?
There's a particular technical task to one of my areas of expertise that I cannot do myself at all. So
Okay.
I needed someone to fill that role in order to continue doing those kinds of projects.
Okay. All right. And that technical work has a financial implication on your side, like meaning you can't get your coaching or your, whatever. You can't do the work that's going to generate the revenue without that technical piece done.
That's correct.
Okay. So that was your thought process of prioritizing all the roles that are needed in a business. That was the number one priority right now.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Because so many entrepreneurs, they'll grasp at just kind of anybody, like, I'll choose social media over technical, over administrative, like budgeting or payroll, or what's the word, bookkeeping. And I'll ask them, so how did you go about prioritizing the fact that you hired a bookkeeper before hiring a social media person? And they really don't have justification for it. So I'm so glad you walked through, kind of justifying and understanding why you're making the decision that you're making, because that's where a lot of folks go boing, in a different direction. All right, awesome. Any other concerns or challenges you're having in regards to this hire that you've made, or the decision process leading up to you pulling the trigger that you did?
I do need to backfill some of the onboarding materials. I have to update things from before the pandemic. And I had,
Okay.
frankly, pretty much given up hope of finding someone with the particular skill I needed. So I am a little behind the 8 ball this week, but catching up.
Right. And do you okay, so you're feeling right now that you still are you've hired this person, kudos. And yet there's still a gap of where you might even need to hire someone else, even if it were to, as you call it, backfill the onboarding, probably content, materials, things that they're going to need in order to do their job.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. All right. All right. And do you have an opportunity to hire a second person, or is one enough at this point?
I could hire a second person comfortably if I committed to it and found the right person.
Okay. Love the word comfortably. That's, and hopefully that's not just financial, because I'm more concerned about you, like, your mindset, your confidence, your, productivity of hiring someone, let alone the money it takes to do that.
Mhm.
And so you'd be comfortable there.
I think so.
Okay, awesome. Well, the suggestions that I would have, I mentioned the signs, and the signs of when to hire would, again, would be, uh, the tasks, the day in, day out tasks and routines are overwhelming. You have money that you can invest. Someone is not doing the sales and marketing, which is the core activity that you need to make sure are getting done. And then if there is, apart from sales and marketing, if someone is not doing the passion, service and support that it is, that why they're in business. They're not doing the speaking, they're not doing the coaching, they're not doing the advocacy, whatever the case might be. So those would be signs of when someone should say, oh, okay, I need to hire someone. Now, the one thing I want to mention though too is, oftentimes people will get to the point where they think they need to hire someone. And yet when I'm working with someone, and what I would do, and it's not, enough time here in a laser coaching session, but what I would do is I would have someone kind of paint for me, and even show me if they have it, but paint for me, what is their business plan? What it is that they're working on? Who is their target client? What are their products and services? What is the market that they're serving? What is the marketing and the sales process that they're going after, and their social media? And I bring up all that because what I often find is that everybody's trying to be everything to everyone everywhere. And so they're spending 70, 80 hours a week working because they're trying to be on every social media platform. They're trying to do every type of strategy people are suggesting to them: podcasts, writing a book, doing challenges and launches, to where that they're just, they're doing it to themselves, as far as they're not really, really tight and clear on their business structure. And therefore, they really don't need to hire someone just yet, because if they stripped away a good probably 70% of what it is that they're doing that they don't need to be doing, they would find that breath and that time in their schedule. So that would be the first thing that I would have looked at, even with you, even now. But yet at the same time, you're finding that investment, you're finding that space, you're finding that time in order to onboard this technical person, and even maybe a second. So it doesn't appear that might be a challenge for you, but it is oftentimes for many. And therefore that's what I would have also done outside of a laser coaching session. We could actually get into that with someone on a spot coaching session,
Right.
which is why we emphasize that. So I think you're doing the right things. You walked through the decision-making process. It was intentional, around why I need this technical person versus, another type of person. Because what I would also suggest to somebody is when it comes to thinking about when's the right time is you really need to assess the priority of that workload. You make a list of everything that you are doing. You kind of categorize it: admin, marketing, sales, technical, maybe there's some bookkeeping. And then you kind of look at, I use a formula in one of my productivity hacks. And if anybody's interested, you can leave a comment, but I'll leave it. I use a formula with my clients that I want them to look at it very simply. If you're targeting to make, say, $200 an hour, let's make it more dramatic. Say you're targeting making $100 an hour, and there's tasks on that list, that inventory that you would do, that I would have you do, that would only cost $10 or $20 or $25 or even $50 to do. Then what I would have you looking at is you're giving up anywhere from $90 to $50. Does that make sense? So if you're doing that $10 task and you're giving up that time to go after your $100 task, then you're losing $90. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, then that's what most of my clients do. They're all of a sudden, they're like, crap. So I would also go through that type of process with someone to ensure that they're looking at, not only just hiring someone because they have some money in the bank that they can hire somebody, but why are you hiring this particular person? And is it going to fill a role that actually, is reasonable to where, it's not costing and you're not giving up your hourly rate to do these type of tasks that are very low value. So those type of things is what we would look at. But kudos to you. And was that helpful? Did that?
Oh, thank you. This has just been so helpful. Actually, the entire hour has been just breakthrough after breakthrough. I really appreciate you, Bernadette.
Absolutely. Well, I'll look forward to following up with you on that person that you've hired and how you're working that in to make it as productive and as effective for you as possible. So great job. Awesome job. And everybody, again, here is an example of just, coaching that you could receive for your own business. If you are interested in a spot coaching session, you can always reach out to support@balloffirecoaching.com and we'll get you signed up. All right. And then next week, Monday, we kick off Goals to Riches Challenge. So feel free to join us every day, 1:00 for about an hour. And we're going to be walking through everything that you need to turn your goals on paper into money in the bank. You can go to goalstoriches.com and register so you get all the worksheets, you get the reminders and the updates and a number of other things. Okay. But for me and everyone here, including Kate of the Powerhouse Mavericks and Ball of Fire coaching community, have a great day. And we will see you out there in our group. Take care, everybody. Bye.